Cappy, let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
You have felt that the Lakers have, and LeBron, they should part ways because you just feel like you feel like there's not much left to accomplish, that it's going to be difficult to accomplish their goals together. I feel like that is a succinct way of describing your feelings towards the two. Is that fair?
I don't feel like that's a succinct way at all.
Okay.
I don't think I resent the misrepresentation, frankly.
Okay. Then how should I represent you? Represent yourself.
I would say this. LeBron James, every day is interesting. Love him, hate him, polarizing for sure. Every single day, LeBron James is interesting. Mm-hmm. So I said last week, because I rode the roller coaster all year long, there was a day where I could figure out a way to say, hey, it's over, man. Like, there's no reason to keep going. It's time to move on. And then when they lost to Denver in that last-second shot in Game 5, I came back on the air the next day and I went, you know what? I'm going to tell you, I feel differently. They're not that far away. They're not that far away from Denver, so I would keep LeBron, keep AD, keep part of your nucleus, add a piece or two. Remember, I said I wanted Caitlin Clark because I need a laser, and I wanted a big body. What was the guy's name from Utah I wanted? Lauri Markkanen.
Lauri Markkanen, which will
That's
never
who
happen.
I wanted.
Yeah.
Okay? Not going to happen?
No chance.
Lauri Markkanen's coming in, and so is Bronny, because that's what LeBron wants, and so is J.J. Redick. Okay?
All right. So
and Caitlin Clark,
so
too.
you want him on the team because you have said in the past that you believe that, maybe they should part ways. So you are now.
That is true. I have said that.
Your most recent belief is that everybody should just come back and most of the team should be intact. Just add a few strategic pieces. Okay.
I need a second big body, and I need a real three-point shooter.
Okay. Now, Big Perk, okay?
Carry the hell on.
Yeah, carry the hell on. Was on First Take this morning, and actually, he felt like the way you used to feel like, that maybe they should just part ways. He took it a step further. He thinks LeBron, well, I'll tell you what he thinks LeBron should do. Let him speak for himself.
At the end of the day, man, I hate to say it, but I believe this in my soul right now. I wish LeBron James will retire. Not because I don't want to see more of LeBron James, not because I don't appreciate LeBron James, but I honestly believe deep down inside, the more LeBron James continue to play the game of basketball, the more it's going to hurt his legacy, and the more it's going to continue to hurt his GOAT argument. Because as long as he step foot on that floor, every single season, it's going to be expectations of him of winning a championship. And when he don't do that, we're going to be looking at him and saying, well, what happened now? So now you're looking at the Lakers. They're most likely going to re-sign LeBron James back this upcoming season. The coach that you bring in, if they don't make it to the finals or the Western Conference Finals, who's going to be to blame then?
All right, so it's an interesting argument, I think. If we're talking about his individual legacy, I don't necessarily disagree with Perk. Now, Perk had multiple stints on TV today, so this caused a stir, clearly. Online, it created this huge hornet's nest of takes upon takes upon takes about his take. Mm-hmm. So he then explained further when he was on NBA Today.
LeBron James has nothing else to prove. So when I talk about legacy, when we're talking about legacy with him, we're not talking about the 40,000 plus points. We're not talking about the NBA all-time leading scorer. We're talking about the GOAT conversation. And when he's putting on the Laker uniform, let me remind all of y'all, LeBron James said he would never cheat the game of basketball, and we believe that. Right? So he's going to continue to play at an elite level. If he can't play at that level no more, he will walk away from the game of basketball. But if he's going to continue to put up those numbers in a Laker uniform, then what's the expectations for elite LeBron James in a Lakers uniform? It's going to be championships. And every single season that he continue to go and fall short, guess what? It's going to be other stabs at him every single season. So I'm not saying that he can't go out there and average 25 or 28 points per game. All I'm saying is, why not retire when you're on top?
On top of what?
Well, he's talking his individual status.
Okay. All right. I mean, it was a great season for LeBron, individually speaking. He had a great year. He stayed healthy for the most part. He had a great year shooting three-point shots.
Nobody's ever had a season like this in year 21. No one.
Okay.
Right.
That's fair.
And I think what he's saying is it's not going to get better from here.
Probably
and he's
not.
saying individually it's not going to get better. And it sounds like he's saying that team-wise it's not going to get better either.
I don't think that Perk's opinion is like without merit. In other words, like I'm not going to come on here today and go, man, are you out your damn mind, Perk? What you talking about? I'm thinking to myself, at least he's got the guts, okay, to say something. He had his career. He's got himself a nice media career going. He's built a career as an opinionist. So good for you, Perk. I like the opinion. I don't agree with the opinion, and here's why. Because LeBron James is interesting every day, like I said earlier, whether you love him or you hate him, whether he makes a three-point shot to win a game or he misses a three-point shot, or maybe he decides to pass the ball, and you say, why'd you pass the ball? And then he says, because I make the right play every single time I make the play. Or then you hate him when you go, hey, was that maybe your last game? I don't want to answer that. Appreciate you asking. I mean, everything he says and does is interesting, whether you love it or you hate it. And I know there's a lot of people that love it and a lot of people that hate it. But I would ask you this, George. We've talked all season long, who's the next face of the NBA? Let me ask you this. Who's the most interesting player in the NBA if LeBron James retires?
Do you mean on the floor or off the floor?
I mean what LeBron is. LeBron is interesting
There's nobody.
everywhere. It's not even close, right?
Right.
So please, Perk, stop saying this. Stop putting this into the universe. I want LeBron to stay because I don't know what's going to happen next year. Can he have the kind of year he had this year? Doubt it. Can he stay as healthy as he was this year? Kind of don't think so.
But wasn't he better this past year than he was the year before?
He was healthier.
Yeah. So to say, like, doubt it.
Right, but that doesn't I mean,
it's not out of the question. I feel like it's 50-50.
I mean,
it isn't out of the questions, but if you were betting odds on it, if you were putting odds on it, the odds are not in his favor.
That's all I'm saying.
He's going to be 40 years old, so I mean, no,
he can't flip the switch.
He can't flip
Lindsay.
the switch. Stop that with the silliness.
But you see, here's
there was
the thing.
no flip switching.
But Perk is talking to you, baseball. He's talking to you because exactly what he's saying is that every time LeBron puts on a uniform and every time he steps onto the floor, there is an expectation that he can lead a team to a championship. That he can.
And you believe that? You think that he can win a championship? You thought he was going to beat the Denver Nuggets?
You know what?
By
I
himself.
did, and not by himself because it's not by himself. If he had like. For example, if they went and got Kyrie instead of re-signing D'Angelo Russell, they probably would have beat Denver. There's a lot of players that you could put in that spot that they re-signed D'Angelo Russell and think they would have won.
Oh, wait a second. I hear Big D oohing and on.
I don't care, man. You can add Kyrie. I still don't think they will beat Denver in a series. In a 7-game series,
Denver kind of owns them.
Just matchup-wise, how they do
it's just hard.
You also thought that the Clippers were going to beat Dallas.
I did. The way the Clippers are playing all year, I thought they were.
Pipe down.
Right, but what does that have to do
pipe
with it?
down. Ooh.
I'm just saying that I think that people underestimate Kyrie. I think
hold on. I mean, I don't know. I don't think
you realize Kawhi didn't play in that series, right?
Right. I mean,
the games that he did play, they lost.
He also hadn't played in a month and a half. So I mean, there's also that. But like, I don't think anyone underestimates Kyrie. I think anyone who's watched Kyrie understands Kyrie, knows Kyrie's a great player. But I think that in other words, if you had Kyrie, it wasn't just going to be D'Angelo Russell. Like, you would have had less of a roster than you would have had. Now, I don't know what else.
What did any of those guys do in the
because the money, you would have had to have made the money work. And the money wasn't going to work with D'Angelo Russell. So it's not a 1-for-1 in that scenario.
Okay, fair point. However, I think if you had a better third option next to
you'd have a better
LeBron,
chance. You wouldn't have just won one game.
I mean, because they were so close every game.
Right,
that's why.
but that doesn't mean anything.
Okay.
But look, here's the bottom line. But the bottom line is what Lindsay believes, and hold on, Big D, 1 second. But what Lindsay believes is what Perk is saying. That he puts on a uniform, LeBron, there's an expectation of championship caliber.
Every time.
Yeah.
Every time. And even as he's getting older and his team can't even fit, they got to play their way in. They're not even a playoff team. They got to play their way in.
Yeah, but I don't think seeding really matters because.
Oh, really?
I mean, for them.
In this playoffs,
well,
it
didn't matter last year, but in general, it matters.
Okay, well, I just think you're right, but I think to LeBron in the past, that's something that hasn't mattered. And now with the play-in, it's different.
But there's not a lot of instances of LeBron being lower than the 4th seed and winning a championship.
Well, I just think that in the past, it's been one of those things where
LeBron was also younger.
Get in. You're right.
Perk wants LeBron to retire because you and LeBron lovers everywhere.
No,
are
I
making
think
it
it's the
unbelievable.
opposite. I think it's the opposite. I think it's because of the people that are hating on him and are tarnishing his legacy and saying, "Oh, well, look at LeBron. He got bounced in the first round. Like, what does that mean for his GOAT status?"
It is tarnishing his
that's
resume.
what I think that's the point I think Perk is making, not for the people that have expectations because they want him to do well.
No, I think it's both. I think it's both.
I mean, I think more so the people that hate on him, and like Michael Wilbon when he specifically said, it's not in that exact sound clip, but he said Michael Wilbon ranting about how LeBron takes no accountability, blah, 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 blah. And I think Perk's making the point, well, you know what? That's because everyone has such high expectations for him. When he doesn't meet them, then everyone says he sucks.
I will say this. If there is if there's a blemish on LeBron's career, and I would say it's a very small one, it's all the coaches. You know what I'm saying? Like that is a real thing. Like
10 coaches. 10.
Yeah, I mean that's a real thing. Now, early in his career, like whatever.
He's also played for 21 years, DeAndre. Like now,
but that's the coach every 2 years.
But
the coach every 2 years.
Also, LeBron is the coach. LeBron is the coach.
That's the problem.
That's part of
That's
the
the problem,
issue.
man.
That is part of the issue, and I don't believe he wants to be. I think he believes. I think there's times he wants to take control, which, by the way, every star has, okay? There is not a star in the NBA, from Kobe to Magic to Shaq to whoever. They've all done that, where the coach will draw up a play, and they'll be like, no, bleep that, let's do this. I mean, that has happened in the history of the sport. Like, that doesn't change. So that's not a LeBron-centric thing. But I do think if you were looking to poke holes in the armor, it is that, well, you know, the coaching thing has been a thing for him. Like, he's not linked to a great coach historically, like all the greats. For example, Magic and Kareem to Riley, Kobe and Shaq to Phil Michael. And, like, he had a great coach, and he left. He also had another great I don't know if he's – I also think he's great, too. I don't think he's as great, but I think he's great. He's in the conversation of the best coaches in the sport in Ty Lue. And he left that too. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that is not an unfair part of the discussion.
Let me ask everybody a question.
It's unfair, but I will say the thing with Ty Lue is that he was the only guy that, like, stood up to LeBron and held him accountable.
Well, that's not true.
I don't
know.
Spoelstra is the reason why he left, because Spoelstra wouldn't back down to him.
Yeah, but he I think in-game situations, I think.
No, I mean, he literally bumped Spoelstra in the shoulder because he didn't agree with him. Like, no, that's not true.
Let me ask everybody a question here, though. You ready? Because this gets back to what Perk
But by
was
the
saying.
way, the two coaches he had the most conflict with that were not let go were the guys that he won championships with.
He should allow them to coach him.
Not thinking of Spo because I did not watch.
And by the way, Vogel is a good coach too. Like, I don't know if I'd put Frank in the category of Spo and Ty, but I would put him in that next tier. You know what I mean? So it's not like Frank is not a bad coach. Frank is a very good coach, is what I would say.
But
this iteration of LeBron is not a coachable player. He's not coachable. He's not at 39 years old and going into 40 years old. He is not a coachable guy.
I would say this. I wouldn't go that far, but I would say
I'm there.
Historically, regardless of sport, okay, football, basketball, baseball, you name it. Go ask any coach or manager. The toughest assignment is to coach the aging superstar. It is always the most difficult because they believe that their way is the way. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if you don't have equity with said player,
which Darvin did not have.
Correct. And again, look, dude, I've seen this with football. You know what I'm saying? Like, people said that Tom Brady wanted that was the guy in Tampa they won the Super Bowl with, Arians, Bruce Arians. That they butted heads all the time, and they said that the reason he got kicked upstairs was because Tom and him didn't get along. It's like that stuff happens. But I do think that if there's one kind of strange caveat to his career, it's that. Now, look, you could also say that's unique. That's unique to his talent. Maybe you can make that case. You could make the case, but I
wouldn't buy it.
Clearly, but I would say I would say that it is definitely out of the ordinary.
Okay.